At RAF Akrotiri, this was the moment the Red Arrows had been waiting for as they received their public display authority and their red flying suits for the season. The Reds are now ready to perform displays all around the world. It's the 50th anniversary of the Reds this year, so there's been plenty of pressure on the team to get the display just right.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah, it's a great privilege to put on the red suit after months of hard work. Wake up a little bit nervous, like just before a big game of sport, but there's nothing different to what we've been doing already. You know, we've done this 3 times a day probably for the last 2.5-3 months now, so it's just that the chiefs of staff are here, so you feel the pressure a little bit.
It's a great feeling, actually. I know it's my third opportunity here, but it's still, the novelty doesn't wear off. It's fantastic.
This morning they performed 2 displays and have been assessed to check that they were up to the right standard.
They've done exceptionally well. Display authority is not based just on today. It's based on 6 months of assessment of the whole team, and not just the air crew, of course, it is the ground crew as well. Just as important that we assess their performance and their ability to perform professionally as well as integrate with the public. And in terms of what I've been looking for, it's 3 things predominantly. Consistency in the display, the fact that they're demonstrating the excellence that the Red Arrows stand for, and the third thing, of course, is safety, which is absolute paramount.
The Red Arrows have been preparing for this day for months, building up their manoeuvres bit by bit to create the display we'll be watching this summer. They've been in Cyprus for the last 2 months on exercise Springhawk. I've been following them through their training, finding out what they've got in store for this special anniversary year. Soaring through the skies over RAF Akrotiri, stopping people in their tracks, the Red Arrows have been treating personnel in Cyprus to displays for weeks. They arrived on the 1st of April for their annual training camp, Exercise Springhawk, with just 2 months to perfect their displays before they perform to the public this summer. This is a very special year for the Reds. It's 50 years since the Royal Air Force aerobatic team first started, and they're making sure it's a year to remember.
The primary focus of us being out here is to fly 3 times a day, to get the final polish on the display ready for the display season. We've got a fairly standard routine, about 20 minutes long, a first half of choreographed formation shapes with all 9 aircraft, splitting into the second half, which is a bit more dynamic. I brought back a few manoeuvres that haven't been done for a while. Essentially, it's a pretty normal Red Arrows display, as exciting and dynamic as we can get it.
To mark the anniversary, the Red Arrows Hawk T1 jet has a new tail fin design which was unveiled at their home at RAF Scampton in February. But there's also been some changes up in the air as well. Along with their detonator, carousel and slingshot moves, they're adding an old favourite to the repertoire, the palm split. And they've been practising hard, flying 3 sorties a day. Red 10 Squadron Leader Mike Ling watches over every one.
I'm the ground supervisor, essentially, so I have to be on the ground at every single public performance to make sure that the display site is safe, that there are no big flocks of birds, intruding aircraft, whether any big ships come into the arena. I just need to warn Red 1 on the radio. The Akrotiri Peninsula is fantastic for our training for our summer. The majority of our displays in the summer are coastal sites, the British summer, seaside festivals, and that's what we're training for. We don't get the opportunity in the UK before we come to Cyprus to practice over coastal display sites. So coming here, we've got about 6 different locations. They're all coastal, so it's perfect training, and it gives us a good opportunity to get used to that for when we arrive in Bournemouth, for example.
Depending on the weather, they will fly a flat, rolling or looping display, and they can switch mid-flight if conditions change on the day. Flight Lieutenant Stu Campbell is in his first year with the team. He started flying with the Reds in October, learning all the moves from scratch.
Complete highs and lows, really, so absolute euphoria getting into the team's fantastic. The first couple of weeks, obviously, with the team were just over the moon. It didn't seem real. And then the reality of actually having to perform the job kind of kicked in. So pretty hard winter training, to be honest, and some pretty low times. But we've come through the other side and everything's brilliant again. Really looking forward to it.
With the public display authority granted, they'll be leaving Cyprus this week, but it won't be long before they're back up in the skies. Their first display is in Cornwall on Saturday. The team are set to perform 85 displays this year in 9 different countries, so a busy summer awaits. Carla Prater, Forces News, Akrotiri.